Hey, good morning. Scott Luton with you right here on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's show. On today's show, we're going to be speaking with a mover and shaker, a business leader that's doing big things to close the gap between planning and execution. That's a gap we're all looking to close quickly in an expedient manner. So stay tuned. We work really hard to raise your supply chain tech IQ here today. So I want to welcome in my friend and our guest here today. Our guest has led award-winning enterprise information and analytics teams for over 18 years. He's just about at that 2-decade rule we like to tout here at Supply Chain Now. I want to welcome in Ganesh Gandhieswaran, CEO and co-founder at Conversight.ai. Hey, Ganesh, how you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me. How's your day so far?
Wonderful, and really enjoyed our pre-show conversation and our chat last week. So I've got my note-taking pen and supplies ready to go. Looking
Good.
forward to learning a lot from you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to share more. Yeah.
So, and it's always neat to rub elbows with fellow entrepreneurs and folks that are changing for the better how we do business across global supply chain these days. But we're gonna dive into that here momentarily. But first, Ganesh, let's get to know you a little bit better. So tell us where you grew up and give us an anecdote or two about your upbringing.
Yeah. So I grew up in India and then moved to US in 2004. And, all like then last 20 years is all about supply chain, work with logistics companies and manufacturing companies. So I was with a leading consulting company called Cognizant Technology Solutions.
Yep.
I was leading their data and analytics practice, but then was tasked to do, get those insights for those automotive and logistics and supply chain companies.
So what you're saying, Ganesh, is you were supply chain before supply chain was cool. Is that right?
Maybe, yeah. Supply chain was always cool. I think we are trying to learn more and more every day, I guess. So.
I agree with you. I think it's always been cool too. And whether that's the people or the technologies or the innovations or the problem solving that we find across industry. But what I'm gathering is since you came here to the States in 2004, really it's been all supply chain all the time, right?
Absolutely, yes. Completely.
So let's talk, just prior to co-founding Conversight.ai, what was your last role that maybe said, hey, you know what, there's a better way of doing this and I'm going to go do it. What was that last role before you founded your company?
So I was the practice leader for the data analytics business responsible for this manufacturing. So in my role, is working with number of customers with a large team, 1,200 people or so we had, working with all these different customers that get those insights, like supply chain insights. What I really liked about is you go to a manufacturing company or a logistics company. If you have information, that insight, what it could impact, very, very different than, just doing it on a guess, right? When I started this in 2004, like that time, people remember about reporting, right? Just reporting, just like last day of the ERP go live. But now, like the leadership is thinking supply chain visibility analytics even
Real
before
time,
the ERP, right?
real
Right.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it become more and more. It becomes so critical to the business now. That's kind of what I really enjoy. I've seen that stuff during my journey there. Yeah.
I love hearing that because you're absolutely right. We're trying to look deeper and deeper and further around the corner of what's to come, right? Because we know
Yes.
curveballs are coming. The ones that have always been thrown at us, and all these new ones, right? So
Mhm.
I love your passion around really providing that real time visibility. So not only can we plan better and react better and make better decisions now, but we can proactively position the business for more success.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about Conversight.ai and just in layperson's terms, Ganesh, what does a company do?
So in supply chain, if I'm a VP of supply chain, I have a lot of data in front of me. I have an ERP system which is capturing all the orders. purchase order, sales order, and all that. And then I have a warehouse management system, which is capturing all my inventory, fulfillment, shipment, and all that kind of. And more locations I have, more and more customers, more and more SKUs, products, I have a lot of data. And supply chain is one place where it's not like financial, where I can keep everything month and I can go close the book. It's not like that.
Right.
You need to deliver every day, right? You need to keep the inventory right. You need to make sure the fulfillment is there and all that. So lot of data and lot of disconnected systems. And as a supply chain leader, like a lot of that role is, you need to make sure the purchasing is taken care. You need to make sure cash flow is good, because you can't have too much inventory, and your customers are right, and you are able to keep up with your sales growth, so that your sales team can sell and all that. So that means a lot of data, lot of systems, and multiple stakeholders to satisfy, from your CEO, CFO to your sales leadership team. So you need help, right? So
lots of good help. Lots of good help, Ganesh.
That good help, right? So Conversight is bringing what we named a smart employee. So Athena is an employee what we are bringing. So we built that AI employee for every busy supply chain leader out there. So you hire this employee, Athena, as a new employee, and you give Athena access to the data, whether you have ERP system, your WMS, your forecast, which is in an Excel, no problem. Give access to that data. Then Athena digests the data, run some complex technical models, segment the data, align the data, integrate the data, whatever, right? So figure out, we used to have, 2,000 orders from this customer on this month. Why are we not receiving it, right? So Athena will analyze the data, segment, and identify the trend. And then Athena is ready for the job. It takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, like onboarding an employee. And then Athena is going to wake you up in the morning that, hey, Nick, you have, abnormally higher inventory here. Or there is products expiring in 8 weeks. So that, right? Or back orders, right? That's biggest thing we are helping some of the e-commerce companies right now is back orders, stock outs, right? So Athena will proactively tell you, number one, proactively tell you. Number two, you take your phone, ask Athena, how much inventory we have here? Athena, how much revenue we made last month for this product? What's the price for this? And how much inventory we have in this location? Ask a question like as we are talking.
So I'm hearing, so let me see if I'm understanding you right, Ganesh. I'm the non-technologist in the room, so I'm a little bit slow sometimes. But it sounds like to me that Athena is a BI-driven, kind of a virtual employee, smart employee, right? That's very well connected into all aspects of the enterprise, very responsive, because it sounds like once you train this virtual smart employee, and they get their sea legs, so to speak, they can really not only crunch the tidal wave of data that comes at any organizational leader, but they can proactively give you heads up sounds like to me to get ahead of some of the problems of the day or the fires of the day that come up in almost any organization. Is all that right?
Yes, exactly. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story why we started this, or why I felt that you need a helper like this. So this was in my prior one. So I was working with the VP of sales, and the VP of sales was in front of a customer. The customer was asking about their own newest product, right? Hey, what is the throttle rate for this particular machine, for example, about a product? This VP said, okay, I know that. I know for sure it's there. And you're searching in the Excel, PowerPoint, all that. Right. In the meantime, the customer Googled it and got the answer. So the VP asked me, Ganesh, we're spending millions of dollars and you guys call big data and all these, but why am I not able to just search or ask that, right? So that is where this entire concept came. All these busy supply chain teams with a lot of this data, you need a smart employee waiting for you or proactive in your phone just come and tell you. Yeah, that kind of
I love
started.
it. It's an easy button for supply chain. I really love it, and that even that doesn't do it justice because of the wealth of informed data and analyzed data that it sounds like that Athena provides. So let's do this. I want to so now that even the non-technologists I think can understand kind of the core of the business platform at Conversight.ai. Let's talk about y'all's response to COVID-19, because it sounds like you got some great stories there where you jump right in and help business leaders, again, fight some challenges that we've known about that are kind of traditional challenges, and then all these new complexities that have invaded global business over the last 18 months. Give us some stories there.
Sure. See, we built this conversational, that AI technology. Initially, we thought, okay, it could be for everybody. It could be for a bank. It could be for an insurance company. But since the team came from the supply chain experience, like decades of experience, so we decided to focus on supply chain. But then what happened during this pandemic, we really saw what kind of a disruptions happening, right? One side, there's a global issues around, like, for example, right now we are talking about chip shortage. We are talking about container shortage. Like what we used to see, the 2 months, lead time for supply, it's almost 6 months now, right? And on top of it, e-commerce growth, right? E-commerce was already growing, but right now it's like huge.
Right.
So that is where we are last 12 months, in fact, it's a crazy run for us. We are seeing a lot of customers helping. And what is more important is, earlier, like, 2 years back when they looked at the conversational AI, I can come and ask a question. Whoever thought it's a nice to have, oh, it's a cool toy. Today, they want to have that toy. They want to have Tina, because it's unimaginable volume of disruption, and you have to manage that. I'll give you maybe 3 examples.
Yeah, please.
So let's take a manufacturing company. We are working with a manufacturing company. They traditionally get purchase orders from the big retailers 6 months ahead of time before the season starts. Like garden tools. Think about garden tools, right?
Yes, I just bought several shovels. I've got an army of 3 kids here in Georgia that work in our new garden, and so I just invested in some garden tools. So this will be a perfect example, Ganesh, for me.
Perfect. Right now, it's what we are doing. Yeah. So take that example. The manufacturing company used to get a purchase order, 10,000 quantity from a big retailer. They have a lot of time to find the right partner, go produce it, and ship it as low cost as possible. And you don't need to store, you ship it and all that, right? So you have a lot of time. Whether you have a great analytic system or not, you'll be able to deliver it. No problem. But today what's happening, the same retailers have their e-commerce website. And the customer, like you and me, we are going and placing order there. Those orders, those sales orders are going as a purchase order to the manufacturing company. Now they need to deliver it in 6 days, not 6 months.
Wow.
The cycle time of 6 months vanished. Now that means as a manufacturing company, the company now need to keep the inventory, because there is no way you can produce some of those, the garden stuff in 6 days.
Right.
That means you need to keep inventory. So what inventory I'll keep? I have never been keeping inventory. I never been into the forecast, demand planning and all that. Now I need to first time and do it. How do I do it? Right? This is a big issue, which the company never thought they need this kind of a planning system on inventory.
Right.
They need it.
They've been in long-term, long lead time manufacturing mode, right?
Yes.
Huge batches and send it with plenty of time. I like how you pointed out in simpler times, there was plenty of logistics, plenty of shipping lanes, plenty of pallets, normal price pallets. All these things have changed. And so these organizations, as you're pointing out, have had to develop new aspects of the operation, new skill sets. They've had to flex, and I hate to use the word nimble, but to meet demands and to protect the business you've got in so many different sectors, you've had to be nimble so that you can adjust and flex with what's needed, right?
Yeah, exactly. So another example, right? Cycle time. Think about cycle time. Right? We're working with a company used to get like in global company like global sourcing 2 months. Like obviously you go place order 3 months before they make it, then ship it in ocean, take 2 months. The same thing now it's taking almost 5 to 6 months. So that means they need to place purchase orders for October and November and December today. And what basis I will do it? Because if my forecast is not really 6 months ahead, and what is the confidence? And if we can't go, these are all mid-sized companies. Think about mid-sized companies. You have to spend 6 months of cash. You're taking a lot of risk unless you have a right system. It's a problem. I think this is some of these disruptions we are seeing in the industry right now, which are new completely.
Huge problem, and you also don't want to give up your cash right now, right? You want to minimize and mitigate that risk.
Yeah,
you just don't know. We don't know, despite all of our efforts of increasing visibility. There's been a ton of surprises that have even defied. Accuracy is a loose phrase when you're talking about forecasting, right? There's not too many accurate forecasts. It's to the degree of how inaccurate they are, maybe. But I love what I'm hearing here, because it really, it's about mitigating the risk across the enterprise, across a number of factors, while ensuring visibility, enabling flexibility. And one thing we hadn't talked about, Ganesh, which is kind of one of the biggest phrases right now, you're augmenting your real team, your human team, right?
Yes.
Athena sounds like a great addition to complement your highly talented human team in that augmentation. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you take a traditional, company, when they want insight from their ERP system, what they do is they get a report writer, somebody who can do a report in a tool or in Excel, right? Somebody who's taking the data, putting it. So first thing, Athena can augment that, right, immediately. When you want to compare my order volume for this product last month and this month by day. You ask the same question like this. Compare my order volume for last month, this month by day. Athena takes that question, break it into parts, make a meaning out of it, hit the database, get that information, put it in a chart, all in a second.
Wow.
That's the power. That's kind of how we are augmenting it.
Yeah, I love that for a variety of reasons. That visual communication is so important.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Excel spreadsheets. So many different aspects of global supply chain are still powered and fueled by Excel spreadsheets, right?
Yeah.
In fact, you could rub elbows with folks on any corner these days that are very proud of this master spreadsheet they've built, right? Or at least when we get back in person. But I love various aspects to this AI driven virtual smart employee in Athena. Let's I want to switch gears a bit. It's okay to switch gears now, because I want to we like celebrating good news here at Supply Chain Now. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's you could argue it's why we were built. It was part of my why for founding Supply Chain Now. And y'all had some really big news here recently, as Conversight.ai was named one of four 2021 Gartner Cool Vendors in analytics and data science. Man, Ganesh, high five first off.
We did it.
Tell it, what was some of the science behind this big recognition?
Yeah. So where the data and analytics is going, it's like creating somebody who have a person to create reports, and it takes 6 weeks to get a report, and it'll cost you a few $1,000s and all that kind of a world. It's going to go into a more augmented AI space, right? You just ask a question, system should get you an information. AI should get you that information. Not really when you ask, it also should be proactive, what we built it. So what we have done Gartner, they have great experience, a lot of analysts, and they spoke number of our customers and reviewed our platform. And few of the things stand out is how we are bringing that augmentation. The second is how contextual. When you're asking a question, Athena first need to understand the question, get you the answer, also bring something related. Hey, or do you want this? Right? I'll give you an example. Like one of our distribution customer, they were asking, "Oh, give me the order volume by week." They were growing fast and easy, growing like week over week. It's growth. But Athena asked, "Do you want this by day of week?" When they clicked on, it showed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday big, and Thursday, Friday was low. Sales team so happy, their week number was met. But think about the warehouse team, fulfillment team. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they were so crazy. Thursday, Friday, their volumes are not up right now.
Right. Sounds like they had an opportunity to kind of load balance a bit.
Load balance, right? So Athena was able to bring what you are asking plus what you need. Understand the contextual. Number one. Number two is really what we have brought it in a control tower, right? So in supply chain, what is more important is visibility. It's not just data. So we built a control tower, supply chain control tower. It will bring you visibility. Your warehouse, all these different things. Okay, in this warehouse, you have 20 items, which is going to expire in 6 weeks. Alert. And then here there is a back order situation for some items, right? We're working with a distributor. They have both. They have expiring items. They have excess inventory. They have stockouts. All three in one. So bringing all that in a control tower, an actionable control tower. Athena will say, okay, you have 20 items back ordered. Do you want to reorder now? You click that. Athena will show you a purchase order form, how much you need to reorder based on your demand, and place the orders. So from data to visual storytelling, control tower, and action. That's what they liked it. Really, that how contextual it is, how actionable it is, and how the storytelling is so easy for a non-technical person, especially when you are supply chain, you are busy.
That's right.
You need something easy to digest and understand rather than pages and pages of data.
I love it, and I'm hearing it's very intuitive, which is as pointed out to your warehouse example there. We gleaned this nugget, I think, from the Gartner research, and this is interesting here, Ganesh. I like this phrase. I was raised up when I went going to church, and we sang this hymn called "Blessed Be the Ties That Bind," and there's so many wonderful transferable theme to that in global supply chain. Get this, by 2023, we're talking about just a couple years from now, 60% of organizations will compose components from 3 or more analytics solutions to build business applications. So these companies are already pulling from a variety of analytics packages and platforms. You need those ties that can bind it all together along the lines of what you're suggesting, right?
Yes. So what is happening in supply chain or overall is you don't have like 1 year time to go implement a solution, right? It is, cloud adoption is increasing. You need solutions which are, it's not like a piece of software you get, hundreds of developers and develop it. Rather, Conversight, okay, we are working with all the supply chain companies. Athena is a supply chain employee, smart employee. Just hire Athena, start doing it like in 4 weeks from now, rather than, 8 months from now, right? So that's kind of, the time to market is very critical today. Very, very, very critical, right? So how quickly we can solve this problem, what is happening? We are working with some of these life sciences, medical equipment companies. You won't believe some of these companies okay, obviously we had a slowdown last year, but then it's a curve so big, demand is so big. But everybody knew this demand is not a sustainable demand. It is going to come down. But will it take 18 months or will it take 24 months or 12 months? When is that curve become normal? So how do I differentiate this backed up demand versus real growth?
Yes.
You need technology for that.
You do. You really do. And you're talking about kind of mitigating the bullwhip effect, right? And we're seeing that continue to play out. Earlier it was with toilet paper, of course, which You and I probably never thought we would be talking about TP as much as we have the last 18 months. And now we're seeing it continue to play out in the food industry, amongst others. It is fascinating. So we've got to use and leverage technology to mitigate that, so that all the various nodes of a supply chain, upstream and downstream, you minimize all the waste, you minimize the stockouts, you minimize all the disruption that has brought a lot of turmoil. Okay, so I want to Greg White, my dear colleague, always has this question. As he paints this picture, if I'm walking down the hall and thinking through my business problems, and what is that thought I've got in mind that will say, I need to call Conversight.ai. If you had to pin it on one reason to do business, what would that be, Ganesh?
So you have a problem, like you need visibility. You have stockouts or excess inventory or delay in fulfilling. That means you need a smart employee. Don't just go get another software. Rather hire Athena, the smart employee.
I
would
that.
say the entire technology is built with that concept of the problem. What I heard, that why somebody is not coming and telling me, why your data is not coming telling me, or why I cannot ask a question to data. Right? So that is kind of how we built it, and it's a patented. Like quickly we patented the technology. It's like the contextualness, what's coming, and we are using some of these advanced. When I say advanced, it's not complex.
So Ganesh,
storytelling.
I missed that earlier. So y'all patented this technology.
Yes,
that's huge.
Yeah, we just got the patent 2 months back, so that was a great achievement as well. So it's great thing. So patented, analysts like Gartner have recognized. Then we have number of customers and telling about what benefits they are seeing. We are working with one of the company, a life sciences company. They have grown like 2x in the last 12 months, but reduced the inventory by 22%. How do you reduce inventory by 22% and still grow to it?
You gotta have smart tech. You gotta have Athena, I reckon.
That's where you need Conversight.
So Ganesh, let me ask you, as a fellow entrepreneur, was that your first patent?
Yes, this is the first patent, and 2 more are pending. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations! That is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's switch gears here a bit. I want to move on to the bigger picture here, right? We've covered so much ground, so many terms in supply chain that have become cliche, but you still got to talk about them because they're not cliches to supply chain professionals, right? And supply chain leaders. We've tackled a number of global business issues related to the pandemic and otherwise. But what beyond what we've talked about? What's one or two other business topics or challenges or innovations that you've been tracking more than others here lately?
Yeah, I think what we are tracking, for example, there is a big change in the business model itself, right? The e-commerce growth is here to stay, for example. And we are seeing from a manufacturing side, we are seeing a lot of insourcing, right, in here. And I just read yesterday, there is a huge plant coming up in Ohio, for example, for manufacturing. So there are a lot of that. Manufacturing shift is happening. E-commerce demand is here to stay. And I just finished a call with a B2B sales team. They wanted to have an e-commerce portal for them in a pharma company. They never thought of having that. They always get orders through phone call or a big blank purchase orders. And today they wanted to have an e-commerce thing. So I'm really like a bit about that. The change is happening in a buyer behavior and the supply chain is happening. So, and overall, what I'm seeing in between the two is short. The cycle time is going to become shorter and shorter and shorter, and that is becoming more a competitive advantage to survive in the business. Especially like thinking about the global e-commerce companies, if we don't provide visibility, if we don't operate it in a quick cycle time, we have a problem. So that is kind of what I'm really upbeat about what's happening in the industry. And I want to be part of that. We want to be part of that journey to help those companies who are traditionally not a big digital heavy player. They cannot afford big technology. They can't have hundreds of data scientists and AI researchers. We can make yours smart as well. You don't need to build yourself. We can build it, right? We have that. So that's kind of what we are looking at.
I love it. So what you're saying is even us non-technologists can benefit from using things like Athena. I love that. And from what I've gathered from doing my homework and in our conversations, it sounds like your team is working across a number of different sectors. It's not just supply chain. You're doing a lot of work in supply chain, but it's really kind of across the gamut. Is that right?
Yes. So we have specialized within the supply chain, but then we are working with a number of manufacturing companies. We help them on, commodities. So what is the commodity price changes? What's the sourcing? Supplier risk, for example, we are taking care of that. And then finished goods tracking, that stuff. We work with a lot of distributors, warehouse distributors, and logistics companies. Then e-commerce retailers. Some of the large retailers from a distribution side we are working on. Life sciences, medical equipments, and we have a number of pharma companies. Right now we are working with them to track the inventory and all that stuff. So yeah, a number of companies. Everywhere where you have some product SKUs and inventory and something movement, we can come and help you there. So.
I love it, Ganesh. I love it. And I love the you shared earlier kind of data doesn't always or ever leap off your spreadsheet and smack you in the face and say, hey, check this out. This is important.
Yes.
But I love how your solution, Athena, brings that to the table. That's a really powerful, proactive aspect to it. Okay. I want to, as we start to wind things down, we love to ask folks about their Eureka moments, right? There's been so many pre-pandemic, throughout the pandemic, and of course, as we're all fighting to get into post-pandemic. What's been if you look over the last couple of years for you, Ganesh, what's been a powerful Eureka moment for you?
I think it was, when we really looked at the last year, say March, for example, when the pandemic was hitting and all those, we were really worried about, what will be there, what will not there, like we're all. But look at the growth the groceries and some of these, companies had. That's when we realized, wow, irrespective of anything happened, there is really a positive growth. Companies, in fact, companies need more better systems now than before. And that gave an energy. Like for me, like few days of dark, oh, what do I do? It's a startup, right? We were a startup and we're upcoming great technology, but market is required. But last year, May to today, like, I don't know, like how many like deals and like how many customers we are able to make impact. That's more important. In my personal thing, I have a thing called own the outcome.
What was that?
Own the outcome. It's not just how many customers we are signing, how much $1 million we are winning, not that. If I'm signing up this for a mid-sized company, a large company, you're getting this technology for something. What is that? You don't want to have a stock out, or you don't want to make sure that you are not throwing away those expired inventory ever. That is outcome. Let's jointly sign up and let's do it. I'm really bullish about that. I want my team really focus on that. Understand the outcome. Let's own it up and let's help them get there. That's
love
kind
that.
of my goal is. Yeah.
Ganesh, I love that. What a great note to kind of wrap on. You see that wall behind me? You got me ready to run right through it, Ganesh. That's the kind of thinking that I think is so important that helps power entrepreneurs to solve problems differently, right? Owning the outcomes you talk about. It's not just about revenue; it's about holistically. How can we raise industries? Kind of what I heard you shared there, Ganesh, and that really sings in my ears. So I appreciate you sharing that message. Okay, I bet that folks in our audience and our community are going to want to connect with you. In fact, Ganesh, you may need to get your autograph writing hand ready to go, warmed up. A lot of good stuff here. But how can folks connect with you and the Conversight.ai team?
Yeah, so number of ways. So we have the Conversight.ai website, www.conversight.ai website. So Conversight, remember that conversational insight, right? Easy to remember, Conversight.ai. You're getting an AI. So go to our website and you can get a lot more details. We have case studies, we have blogs, and we have cool videos. Take a look at it. We also have done a lot of webinars with our customers, so you can hear from our customers what they are seeing it, all those. Or remember this info. You need information? Info at conversight.ai. Just write to us. We can do that. Now I'm going to do one more thing. Right? If somebody is listening to this, good 30 minutes, you've invested your time and you want to give something. This technology, when we want to implement, use this, the supply now 0521. It's May and 21. Easy to remember. Supply now 0521. Give this code and get a 60-day pilot at no cost. At no cost. And we are doing it for like next 2 months, so July 31st. Before July 31st, if you come on, experience Athena, hire Athena for free. How about that?
Ganesh, that's pretty cool in my book. So now it's starting to really crystallize what Gartner was seeing when it comes to Conversight.ai. So I love that. So folks, if you heard Ganesh, you can give it take a spin. 60 days, gosh. And the code, and of course, I think we can put this in the show notes, not only the link to Conversight.ai, but also more information on this deal. Supply now 0521, and you get a 60-day pilot program. Or as Ganesh said, you hire Athena for free. I love that. Who else? Raise your hand if you need great employees at no charge these days. So I love that, Ganesh. Pleasure and an honor to spend some time with you here today. Congrats on all the big things you're up to. No wonder after now I've had a chance to kind of hear the whole story, and I'm sure big things lie ahead. Any final? If you had to leave, you've given me my proverbial 17 pages of takeaways and notes. But if you had to leave our audience with one more thing, what would that one more thing be?
So this is one of the CEO, mid-sized company CEO told me after we were just chatting, and he said, now I can afford this, or now I can afford AI. So now I can act like a big company, what they can do it. So what some companies have a missed feeling, oh, I can't do that AI, what a big e-commerce is doing. You can do that. Let's build this supply chain together. Let's get all these insights and grow together.
Love it, Ganesh. Right on cue. You don't miss an opportunity. I love that. Well, a pleasure again to meet you and share your message with our community here, our global community at Supply Chain Now. We've been talking with Ganesh Gandhieswaran, CEO and co-founder at Conversight.ai. Be sure to connect with Ganesh on LinkedIn. Check out their site. Take advantage of the offer. All that will be in the show notes. Ganesh, thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. Great chatting with you. Yeah.
You bet. Really a pleasure. I love the storytelling approach you take. It's so important in these times. Folks, wherever you are, I hope this finds you well. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Hopefully you enjoy this conversation as much as I have with Ganesh and his team. The easy button in supply chain, right? The virtual AI-driven, very smart, talented, and proactive employee. Get them on their team. But hey, most importantly, all the best to you wherever you are. Hey, do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And on that note, we'll see you right back here on Supply Chain Now real soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.